Welcome to Linda's Corner. My name is Linda Bjork. The toughest job you'll ever love is the unofficial slogan of the Peace Corps. Working for the Peace Corps is a job of selfless sacrifice and service to help people around the world be better able to help themselves. Today, we're going to be talking about another job that's a lot closer to home and is also a job of selfless sacrifice and service that can also be described as the toughest job you'll ever love. That job is motherhood. My daughter-in-law Aubrey recently published a book of poetry called Motherhood, an illustrated tribute. I'm going to share with you the introduction from her book. I wasn't planning on becoming a mother. I wasn't even planning on becoming a wife. I wasn't interested in babies or nap times or kindergarten through 12th grade. The thought of having my own children brought a lump to my throat. It has been a process learning to love that hike called motherhood. Many times I've curled up on the floor and cried, worn out by the weight of carrying and caring for another human life. My children's tears have mingled with my own as I've wept over my weaknesses and deficiencies. But being a mother, as I've discovered, is finding strength in weakness. Instead of staying on the floor amidst the scattered Laffy Taffy wrappers, I choose in, as my mothers chose before me. I choose to rise. I choose to love. I choose to lift. I am so grateful for the mothers along the way who have showed me the dignity and beauty of motherhood. Not just in scrubbing floors, wiping noses, and juggling schedules. Not just in cooking or burning daily meals or changing flat tires. Not in you get the idea. The to-do list sits on my chest and wags its finger in my face. Until I let it go. Then, like my mothers before me, I read just one more story, even though we've already read Hello Ninja 15 times this week. I choose to show up. Don't get me wrong, the Lord asked us to strengthen the feeble knees for a reason. All too often, mine crumple under the mountain of last straws, sippy cups with crooked lids, an unidentifiable sploosh on the kitchen floor, or another drink in the middle of the night. My heart breaks over tough questions and even tougher answers. Sometimes, even with great examples, support, and resources, I still need to rest. In those moments, a line from my mother's echoes in my heart. When care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but don't you quit. I am deeply comforted by, and as I mentioned before, deeply grateful for the women who have invited me to instill the wayposts of wisdom in my heart and keep me going day to day, hour to hour, minute to minute. I know that they, like me, have made mistakes. They're not perfect, and ached from their own inadequacies and imperfections. Maybe that's why they're so beautiful to me. Not because they were perfectly polished people, but because they weren't. And yet they chose in anyway. Hopefully, this small compendium gives just a taste of what it feels like to be a mother, and how worth it, how valuable it is to be one. To continue in the words of John Greenleaf Whittier, so stick to the fight when you're hardest hit. It's when things seem worst that you must not quit. Aubrey Bjork. As Aubrey so eloquently shared, being a mom is challenging. I am the mother of 5 awesome kids who have all grown up, and the youngest one just left home. But today I have with me a special guest, my daughter, Melanie Jensen, who is currently in the thick of it with 2 small children, ages 5 and 3. Melanie has a gift for finding the humor in every situation, and she's going to share some of the reality of being a parent. So, to start, I'm just going to read a text that I got from Melanie a couple days ago. It starts like this. After we talked on the phone, I went upstairs to find that they had retrieved the gallon of ice cream out of the freezer and helped themselves. Then opened the rice storage bucket and played Flower Girl with it all over the kitchen. I deserve a raise. They also painted with the melted ice cream all over the island swivel chairs. Also, Caleb peed on a chicken. I was doing pretty well with the sympathy thing, and I even had a little bit of guilt because I wasn't able to help that day. Until I got to the part where it said, also, Caleb peed on a chicken. Then I just burst out laughing, and that was only a part of the day. Will you share that day from the beginning?
Yes, I will. Prepare yourself. It was a bad day. Once upon a time, I woke up. It started at that point where I could not find my phone, and my phone has my calendar on it, and I live by checklists and to-do lists, and I needed my phone. And so I had Tyrell, my husband, call me a bunch of times, and I couldn't find it. Eventually, I found it tucked into, deep down into the heater vent in May's room. May is my daughter. She's 3. And it was tucked down between a nest of rotten apples that they had also apparently been stashing down there for many moons. And it explained why the house had been smelling bad for many days at this point. They know they're not supposed to start an apple and not finish it, so they've been starting one and hiding it and starting one and hiding it. And my phone deserved the same treatment for who knows why, so that was gross. Also, it's a new phone, and it smelled bad. And reaching in and finding fuzzy things, I was pretty sure I'd found a rat nest, and I had a horrible panic attack. It was a bad day, and I still was half asleep when I closed, reaching in. It was like the nightmares didn't stop. It was so bad. And then I wandered about and found the rest of their morning's adventures. So I was not sleeping in. It was like 7 a.m., but they had woken up before that and had proceeded to begin the day with vigor and vim, and that was step 1. I also have those Mio drink enhancer things where you squirt it into the water because my kids refuse to drink water. And because I have been entrusted to not let them die for a while, I bought that so that they would stop not drinking water. And so I've told them that I am the one who does the squirty thing because my son will empty an entire one of those nasty canisters, which is 99% food coloring, into his cup and then drink it and stain his entire face and look like the Joker. And then everyone thinks that I have a weird sense of humor, but I do, but it's not like that. And so I've told him so many times, you don't use these, you get mommy and I will help you. So I hid them at the very tallest part of the pantry, which is hard for me to access. And my son climbed up very tall. I don't know how. He got 2 of them and emptied both of them. 1 and 2, completely 100% into this little teapot. And then he and May had a tea party with this food coloring drink on my new rug and stained it all over the place. Oh. And I just bought that, and that was a whole new thing because the dog had pooped all over my other rug so many times that I couldn't even look at it anymore, even though I loved it. So they had ruined my new rug with spots of orange and red, and so that was fun. And then after they were done with their new tea party, they decided they wanted some ice cream because, of course, it's 7:30 in the morning. Who doesn't want ice cream? And so they got out that giant thing of melted ice cream that was melted later when I told you about it afterwards. They had scooped out handfuls so you could see all the little fingerprints, which makes you not excited for ice cream at a later moment.
Nasty.
Had painted the chairs with it, and then they had used those same lovely ice cream fingers to dip into that storage bucket that we bought of rice and had played Flower Girl, just like I said in the text, and tossed it. So now there's handprints of ice cream inside the rice bucket and the food storage, and there's rice all over the kitchen and on the carpet. And then Caleb peed on a chicken. And
how does one pee on a chicken? Where does one find a chicken to pee on?
Once upon a time, I thought that it would be wise of me because of the coronavirus and all that, all these public potties closed down. So months ago when all this started, I took my kids to the park so that they could actually not kill me dead because I was perishing in the home with my children. Quarantine is a 4-letter word with extra letters. It was a bad thing. And so we went to the park and the public potty was closed, and I have 2 kids who had just potty trained. And I had been potty training Caleb for 19 months. He's a little bit autistic, so that was a very long road, and I was not about to waste it just because I couldn't get into the potty, so I offered a tree. I said, Caleb, would you like to pee on a tree? You should have seen his face. His face did not light up that bright on Christmas. It was so exciting, and he said, really? I said, yeah, right here, let's pee on a tree. And it has not stopped since.
Oh, dear.
We have not really a tree. It's kind of a bush, but it's situated in the backyard right next to our chicken coop, who were also the untimely recipients of his newfound pastime. And he is so excited. Whenever he pees, we can hear the sliding back door, because that is the place to potty. And my poor daughter May is so very jealous. And I when she has to pee on a tree, because she had to pee on that day too, you have to hold her with sans clothes and fold her in half and bend her little bum towards the ground and, support her off of the ground and then say, okay, go. And then kind of aim with your forearms as you're supporting this naked, bent in half bean of a child. And then eventually she's done and you shake her off like a rag. And then you pull the pants back up. And then you say, yay, we did it. We peed on a tree. That takes much supervision and much help. And May is so frustrated that she also cannot just go and pee on a tree willy-nilly, Willy, because penis. And so she can't go pee on a tree like him. And so she has informed me that she has a penis. But I have informed her many times that she indeed does not have one. But she will fight me. And not only does she have one, but hers is better than Caleb's. And then it's a fight. And then she wants to go pee on a chicken too because she's so jealous. Anyway, the chickens are right nearby this tree. And so Caleb was out peeing on a tree. And this was just the day of the ice cream and the rice and the apples and the vent and all the things. And so this was just one more exciting adventure. It was an opportunity. The chicken was there. The pea stream was there. How does one not? I would be tempted had I been blessed with such anatomy, but I am not. And therefore I pee in the potty like a total plebeian. So that was a bad day. That was day one that I was telling you about, and you left me on that day to my own devices.
I am so sorry.
I almost killed them.
She called about 9 a.m. and said, Mom, can you help me today? I'm going to kill them. And I said, I would love to, but remember, I'm heading out of town, and we are getting on a flight. And she said, oh, okay. So basically,
and I didn't even kill them.
I know.
I did
so
a good job.
Proud of you.
I'm raised.
When I came back and I saw them still alive, I said, "I'm so proud of you."
Thank you. Thank you. There are fewer hard things.
And as a parent, really, your main job is to keep these tiny people alive.
Mm-hmm. Which is already hard. They don't like to eat, and water, I've already told you, is a difficult thing. And they try to escape.
And they fight you on this goal of trying to keep them alive. It's baffling.
Nonsense.
Who wants that?
Not them. I want all of it. There are these great memes upon the interwebs that say, Dear Naps, I'm sorry I was so mean to you as a child. Please come back. I want naps. They don't appreciate it.
You deserve a nap and a raise and all of the things.
So that was just one day though. I got more. Would you like some more?
Oh, yes, please.
Yonder we go. May has learned that if she takes naughty, prohibited things into Caleb's bed, Caleb gets in trouble first. Because I assume that he did it because it's in his bed. For Christmas, I built them this castle bunk bed thingy, and Caleb sleeps on the top of the castle, and May sleeps in her unicorn room across the way. But May knows to sit at the top of the castle to get into whatever it is she has found, and then Caleb is in trouble until I find the same substance of whatever has been smeared, colored, pooped, whatever else on the wall is also on her, and then I use my science, and I learned that it was not him.
Reasoning.
Yes. But many a time she's done that. She's taken crayons up there and scribbled all over his sheets and his walls and the bunk bed. And she took up my thing of toothpaste. And I have been blessed with not awesome teeth, so I have fancy toothpaste. And she squirted out my spendy toothpaste and spread it in the sheets and spread it through her hair and spread it on the walls and in his pillowcase. So she took time, care, and effort to distribute this as evenly as possible. And it smelled so nice and minty, which is better than little boy room as it normally smells. So thank you, May.
There was a bright side.
Yes, a minty bright side with extra whitening capabilities. It was just a lot, Mom. I died. That's just also one. This is one of my favorite Caleb stories. Once upon a time, it was Christmas time, we made sugar cookies, and we made it this whole production. I was so proud. I was a good mom that day, man. We mixed it all together. I was showing them how to practice their measuring skills, and then they cut them out, and then we all watched the oven while it was cooking, and then we brought it out, and I had them color their food coloring frosting stuff, and then they frosted it, and then my son put his frosting on like 1.5 inches thick on these cookies, and then pounded down 4 of these man-hand-sized cookies.
Like he ate them?
He ate them.
Oh, no.
Completely sprinkles all of it. And
Oh,
I
dear.
knew that he was going to explode physically in moments. And so I told him, that is enough cookies. Then, after, your award for doing something nice for the children is when it stops, they kill you. And so I was
standard
murdered.
Children.
Yes.
Thank you.
So I got just berated
and
screamed at and kicked and flailed, and he was already on a sugar high, and he's a little bit autistic, and so he was just bending at the waist like he was one of those inflatable long arm thingies that you see at car dealerships with foaming at the mouth with sprinkles in it, and he was a disaster, and I couldn't get him to calm down. So eventually my awesome mom technique was I yelled over his yelling and said, "You can have another cookie in the morning when the sun comes up!"
Oh my gosh.
He stopped instantly, and he just looked at me and cocked his head a little. Sun comes up, get some cookie. Because we'd just gone over recently what morning was, and it's when the sun comes up, so he knows what that is. Sun comes up, get some cookie. And I was shocked because he'd stopped so fast, and so I just agreed with whatever he said. Yeah, sun comes up, get some cookie. All right then. So he went to his room, and he sat on his bed, did not get under his blankets. I tried to put his blankets over him, and he fought me, and he just sat up, and he looked at the window, which was just starting to darken because it was bedtime, 8 o'clock, and he just stared at the window. Sun comes up, get some cookie. Sun comes up, get some cookie. Good night, Caleb. Sun comes up, get some cookie. I love you, Caleb. Sun comes up, get some cookie. All right, then. So I started to close the door, and he didn't even notice. Usually when I close the door, he freaks out, but he was just staring straight at the window. Sun comes up, get some cookie. And then I was doing some other work. I was in school again, so I was working on some homework, and at about midnight, I came back up because I do you do your mom rounds I always check on them and give them a kiss while they're sleeping. So I came in, and I was going to give him a kiss, and he was not asleep. He was still sitting bolt upright, staring at the window, saying, "Sun comes up, get some cookie." A little slower now. Sun comes up, get some cookie. And at that point, I realized that I had made a terrible mistake. And I tried to get him to lay down, and he fought me, but he eventually kind of laid down. And then I put blankets on him, and he didn't quite notice, and he was still staring wide-eyed at the window. Sun comes up, get some cookie. And I just was hearing the wee in the back of my head because I was afraid of this child. And then I kind of sat in my bed knowing that he was still awake and was going to come get me at any moment, and I was actually nervous.
Okay, so now I'm dying to know what happened when the sun came up.
The sun came up. The sun came up at about 5:36. It's December, so it's a little late-ish. So this isn't really sun coming up. There is a tiny bit of pink lining barely on the crest of the mountains, and my bedroom door burst open. BAM! And in comes my child. The sun is up! Get some cookie! And I was not going to fight him. Yes, we're going to get you a cookie. We're getting you a cookie right now. And so I got him a cookie, and then he went back to bed, and I thought I could have avoided this whole terrifying encounter if I'd just given him a cookie. Moral of the story, parents, feed your children nothing but cookies. They'll be happier.
I'm thinking that's not the moral
You're right,
of the story.
That is the wrong moral of the story. But that was scary. That was horror movie.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
He gets a little bit fixated. Does he do that a lot?
Always. When he has a thing that's his favorite thing, if you touch the thing, it's a freak out. It's part of his Asperger's. He's got kind of an obsessive personality. It's cute when it's on something nice, but if he's obsessed with a show like Curious George, he'll talk in monkey for days. And I cannot tell you how annoying it gets to be hearing when he's trying to tell you that he wants a drink. And I have to say, no, monkey, use some words. No, use the words. Tell me that you want a drink so I don't murder you in your sleep. So, here's another one. Moving away from murder. May is a princess and insists on girl clothes always and forever. And she has these pull-ups because she's having a hard time with wetting the bed recently. And so you get the girl pull-ups because you must, and they're pink, and they do Paw Patrol pull-ups. But there is an issue where only half of the Paw Patrol pink pull-ups are of the girl Paw Patrol dog. The other half, for whatever reason, someone in marketing did a bad job, is a boy dog on a pink diaper, and May knows that is incorrect, and so she will not wear them. So, of course, first we use up all the girl Paw Patrol ones, and then all that's left, though they are pink, they are boy Paw Patrol doggies, and I'll try to put them on her, and she'll fight me with vigor and vim and cry and scream until we learn the secret. You must use a black Sharpie marker and draw girl face attributes on the boy dog. So it needs lips and mascara and fluffy hair and a necklace and rouge, and then she will wear it. And it has to be approved by Dad. So every time she pulls up her underwear and she's decided that maybe it might be feminine enough, she goes wandering in with her sultry, cute little baby catwalk, wearing nothing but her little pull-ups, and goes to find Tyrell and then poses, girl underwear. And he goes, beautiful girl underwear. And then it is acceptable, and then she will put on her jammies, the end.
Ah, but I was there once, and jammies are not that easy.
No, it has to be a dress jammy. And it has to be one that she said was first.
Yes.
It has to be the correct dress jammy.
Oh, my Lanta. And if it's not, and I remember I came over, we were trying to get her ready for bed.
Mm-hmm.
And you were so tired because you'd been up till 2 o'clock every morning taking care of other things. And she was having a tantrum and you fell asleep on the floor. You're not appreciating this tantrum enough.
No, she needed to go louder. I just wasn't getting it.
And then your comment, you said, this is why I am late. To everything.
It is, though. But her love of things, all things feminine, I didn't do that. I'm not a fabulously feminine person. I like to look nice, but I've never been girly, so I've never been into dresses or jewelry, and I thought that was something that's taught. It's not. It is her all by herself, and so I thought that we were going to have her have all kinds of androgynous toys, but it is not the case. She will tuck in whatever airplanes I give her with fluffy pink blankets and kiss them and have them be the princess airplane and other such things. And I didn't buy her a lot of jewelry because choking hazard, and also I forgot. And so she one day was going through my laundry because I was doing laundry, and she found a lacy undergarment of mine. And put it on her neck as a necklace. And then she was wandering the house, and then she wanted to go for a walk. And I knew what that was, and other people who were not her would also know what that was. I bought her a necklace soon thereafter, and she wore it for many moons until she broke it, and then that was another adventure, but it was a bad thing, yes.
Yeah.
She has so much too. She's put me in time out before.
Do you know? Oh, that one was funny. Okay. Yeah, you have to tell that one.
Oh, okay. So I make cakes professionally out of my kitchen, and sometimes if the deadline is coming up and I'm running out of time and I'm stressed, then I'm a little short. But in this case, I was stressed and I was out of butter, and so we had to run over to Harmon's, and it's the whole COVID thing, so you have to wear a mask, and it's an ordeal, and Tyrell was gone, so I had kids with me, so it was a bigger ordeal. And then the butter, all they had was the $1 million stuff, and so I had to buy this gold-encrusted butter cube, and it was so frustrating, and I didn't want to buy it, but I had to because I had no time, and the kids were fighting me. And then I eventually got home and started, and I put everything together, and then my butter was gone, because it was in this shiny metallic package. And then I found my daughter, who had found the shiny metallic package, opened up the butter and was cubing it into pieces and throwing it on the floor. And then the other part was going in her hair. And then she was eating some cubes, decided it wasn't that great, and then threw slobbed up pieces. So I could not have saved this butter if I really wanted to. It was just nasty.
Nope.
And I did. I popped
like
a little louder.
All 4
all
things?
of it. So
all of them.
Yes. One of them was still inside the wrapper, but it was crushed, and so I could have probably still used that one, but I was mad about the whole thing, so I bought new butter later. But I was a little upset, and so I freaked out. May, you ruined my butter. I have to go back to the store. Oh, no. And she was so mad at me for being mad. And so she
How dare you?
How dare I?
Be upset.
And so my husband works from home, and he has an office in the basement, and May knows that when he goes to the basement, he goes away for quite some time, and that's what work is. And so she, after I calmed down, took me by the hand, led me down to Tyrell's office, pushed me in, and said, "You go to work, Mommy," and then closed the door behind me. She put me in timeout. I was in so much trouble. I don't want to be in trouble. I was so tired, Bob. And I apologized. And then all through the times of them being potty trained, they would hide their diapers in random places. Caleb once took off his very soaking wet diaper, where it starts adding pounds to the diaper because it's so very full. And they wear it and they look like a tiny bumblebee with an abdomen. And then he left it under my pillow for me to find. And I had not...
You know what that reminds reminds me of one of the things you left out of your terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. And that May had an accident and she stood over you and peed on you.
Yes, she did. That's right. Same day. May had insisted on not her doggy underwear because no amount of rouge on that pull-up was going to make it feminine enough for her very particular suitabilities, and so she wore panties, and then she was so close to not peeing her pants, but then that same morning before I found my phone in the pile of rotten apple cores, she stood over me and peed on me, and I'm so tired.
Yeah, that was a bad day.
That was a bad day. But Caleb left his diaper under my pillow that one day, and that was fun to find. You know, you put your arm underneath. The worst time, though, was when he left another soaking wet diaper in my tangle of blankets, because I hadn't made the bed that day, because I had been a crazy day already. And so I unfurled my blankets, you know, ready to just, on the bed. But as I unfurled them over my head, it fell out and thwacked on my bare neck. And neck is somehow worse than face. Because
no, it's not.
No? You don't think so?
No,
I don't know.
No,
I
face
felt
is bad.
absolutely paralyzed.
Oh, I would say neck is bad.
I was paralyzed.
Face is worse.
I
prefer not to be peed on at all.
So here I am, so tired, ready to just lay down, and now the tired part is done, and it's time for a flurry of laundry activity, and I was so upset. And
probably shower.
And a shower! Okay, then I have a favorite one. Once upon a time, we have a little toy Olaf piggy bank. It's grand. It's very cute. The kids were so excited about it, and I showed them what money was, and it was this fun little learning activity. And then Olaf sat all nice and porcelain and fragile and vulnerable up on our little shelf thing that we have in the main room. And
it's a piggy bank?
It's like a little, it's a
ceramic
little money bank.
thing?
Yeah. And
okay.
So Olaf, you know, he has the big head and the big little body, and it's a thing. And so my son, I could hear him while I was getting May dressed. So I was working with May in her room down the hall, and I heard Caleb talking to it. Hello, Olaf. Hello. And then I heard as he was rhythmically thwacking it against the banister of the stairs, and I heard him he was having such a good time thwacking it, and then I heard a very distinctive as it broke, and then I heard him go, oh no, and then I heard plunk, plunk, plunk as it fell down the stairs, because we live in a split level, and so he's standing at the top, and then it kind of folds under and around itself. The stairs are a weird little setup. So then I heard him go dash, 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 dash down the stairs and thwunk to try to find the head, and then I hear him up the stairs, and then his panic as he's trying to set it on the body, and I could hear the clinking sounds as he's setting it on the body, and then I come out, because I know at this point that he is very much broken, poor Olaf, and I see him just very carefully balancing it back on top of the body, and then I find him, I say, what you doing? And he goes, and shot back, and he'd totally done a great job. It had sat on top of the body, he balanced it really well, but he was so apologetic, because he knew he'd been caught, so he just, I'm sorry, Mom, sorry, and I said, what happened? Sorry, and then May came out, and I just gotten her dressed, and she wandered over towards the Olaf, and she was going to pick it up because that was a favorite toy. And when she picked it up, the head came off, and she was so confused. And she looked at it, and looked at me, and looked at Caleb, and Caleb saw his opportunity. Mom! May broke the Olaf! And I just, how dumb do you think I am? It's so frustrating that they assume and hope that I am an absolute moron. But thus it is.
Yeah. Oh, you're doing an awesome job. It is hard. It is hard every single day. And it's 24/7.
24/7.
There's no break.
Nope.
And they are completely thinking about themselves and everything. It makes perfect sense. Like Caleb has decided that what we feed him is stupid.
Right. So they find their own treats.
Yeah.
Because he knows where it is.
Because I know how to feed myself the yummy things. You found your Twix?
Oh, yes. Here's one more, and then I will stop.
No, keep going. These are
My
awesome.
sister, I did her wedding this last month, and she gave me this thank you gift basket, and in it was a bunch of little Twix candies, and those are my favorites, and it was really nice, so I hid them, and I use them on cake sometimes. And I was coming upstairs, and I could hear the kids in my room, and I heard Caleb hear me and go, oh, Mommy's coming. Hide! And then shuffle, 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 and that's the sound that you don't want to hear. Just, oh no, what did they break? What did they do? And so I wander up, and they're gone. And so I'm just looking for something broken, looking around my bed, looking around the side, and they're missing, except for there's a single May fist that's sticking out from underneath my bed. The rest of them and him are all tucked up underneath, nice and conveniently well hidden. And in this cute little fist is a fistful of Twix wrappers. So the one thing that I was meant not to find is the one thing my 3-year-old did not think to pull under the bed with her. And then they were all in trouble. The end. But they find so many things like that. The other day, Caleb got into my gumballs, which are also used for cake, and he filled his mouth with not 1, not 2, not 3, but 7 gumballs. He's small. I don't know if I could fit that many gumballs, and my mouth is 90% of my face. Yes, and he ate so much that when I was asked him, what do you have in your mouth? And he couldn't even respond, and then I was mad and spit that out. So he spat it on my carpet because, of course. Oh. And then he ran on it as he ran away from me, and so I had to pick 7 gumballs worth of sticky, slimy drool out of my carpet, and I was sad. But let the record show, the stenographer can read this all back, I have not killed my children yet. I did a good job, because this is the toughest job you'll ever love, and I love my children, and they have lots of good stories.
I know.
Here's a sweet story.
Let's have one of those while we're thinking of sweet things.
Yes, so I can remember why I haven't killed them yet. Because now, right in a row, I'm thinking, but why did I do any of this?
Apparently it makes no logical sense.
No logical sense
whatsoever.
I have a hard time being pregnant. All of it.
I know. Being pregnant is miserable. Delivering is not particularly fun. And then the children, it's hard. It's very hard.
Mean to me. But here is a
we
cute
do it,
moment.
and we love it.
Mm-hmm.
Which is crazy.
Yes, I do. I love them so much. Caleb, though he is naughty now, and he has learned to get into every single thing that he possibly can find because he's very autonomous now, he loves May, and he would share anything in the world with May. And one time, May was taking a nap, and back when naps were a thing, which they are not, I miss them very much. Caleb, I gave him a cookie, and it was a whole cookie, and he held out his other hand and said, "Cookie for May?" And I said, "No, May doesn't need a cookie. May's sleeping. You just get that cookie." And so he looked down at his cookie, and he didn't bite it like I thought he was going to. He loves cookies. He ripped his cookie in half. And then he said, "Cookie for May," and held up half. And the bigger half, he was going to go give the bigger half to May. And I said, "No, May's sleeping." And then he cried. I gave him a cookie, and he cried because he couldn't share with his sister. Is that not gorgeous? Oh, I melted. It was so beautiful. And then May is a sweetie, and she understands that when people eat food, it's because they're hungry. And I was teasing her. I was raised in a teasy house. My dad is a teaser. And I gave them chips to go with their sandwich for lunch one day, and then I went, "I'm gonna eat a chip." And I took one of her chips, and first she went, "Hey!" And then I ate it. Ooh, she's gonna be so mad. And then she got calm and said, "You hungry, Mama?" And gave me a fistful of chips. Aww. And I wanted to cry, so I gave her like 3 bags of chips because I was so just thinking about all the chips you want. Yes, it melted me.
They're sweet, and they hug, and they're just adorable.
Yes, I love when they hug me. Caleb doesn't like to say "I love you" or give attention unless you ask for it very specifically. But May, she'll come up and just snuggle me from the back and say, "I'm so happy at you, Mama." Aww. And that just, "I'm so happy at you too, May." I just love my kids so much. They cause me to perish, but they also just make every day so nice, and I love them so much.
I know. They add such a richness and a depth and a whole lot of stories. I know, and you tell them so well. You make me just laugh, and I love it so much. So here are just a couple of suggestions for those who are, like Melanie, just in the trenches of motherhood. And one is to follow Melanie's example and to find the humor in the situation. There will be days where you can either laugh or cry, and laughing is a lot more fun.
Or
both, and you can do both. Another suggestion is to write things down. Your stories and experiences can be a treasure someday. I wrote down a little bit once a month about the kids when they were growing up, and I have more than 20 years recorded, and it's just a delight to read now. And it's useful for more than just memories and entertainment and like blackmail for kids if they were really naughty.
Read it at their wedding.
Yeah, you can read it at their wedding. But my daughter-in-law, Aubrey, who has 4 little ones, and she reads sections of that history often, and it helps her to get through some of those rough days. There's that reassurance that she's not alone because somebody else has gone through it too, and they survived. So the chances are that she's going to survive too. And since it very briefly covers up but a long period of time, you can see that normal, naughty kids can turn out to be awesome, responsible adults. And that can be rather reassuring at times. If you're interested, they're all available on the website, twogoodthings.net, under the Linda's Corner tab. You can just Google Two Good Things Bjork and it should pop up. In closing, I'd like to share a quote by Russell M. Nelson, who is a world-renowned pioneer in the field of cardiovascular surgery, and he is currently serving as president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. He said, "My decision to go into medicine was forged by two realizations. One was that was where my talents lay. I had a great desire to do research, to go into the unknown. The other was that I liked people. I wanted to serve them. I reasoned that the finest career that would be available to a human being would be that of mother. Inasmuch as that was out of the question for me, I reasoned that the second occupation would be medicine. There I could help people every day and teach them." So if you're serving in that finest career available to a human being, that is also the toughest job you'll ever love, I hope that you take comfort and assurance that what you're doing matters. It's a hard job, and it matters. See you next time on Linda's Corner.